I sat in my office on the 34th floor of Novor Tower, glass walls framing a perfect view of Seattle's waterfront as the sun burned through the fog. Below, Halverson Dynamics employees filed into their high-tech headquarters, oblivious that every badge scan, email, and project update ran through a platform I had built, the same company that once humiliated me. 5 years ago, I was 25 and the youngest systems engineer in Halverson's research division. "This is absurd," Calvin Halverson scoffed, reclining in his carbon fiber executive chair as he skimmed my pitch deck. "You're telling me a fresh grad's algorithm can cut our back-end processing time in half?" I stood tall, hands trembling. "Yes, sir. Pilot tests reduced workflow redundancies by 81%. He didn't even let me finish. "Kendra, I don't need TED Talk ideas. I need professionals who understand infrastructure at scale." My manager, Alex Monroe, spoke up nervously. "She's outperforming senior architects in test simulations." "You thought wrong," Halverson snapped, voice sharp. "This company was built on precision, not dorm room theories. Ms. Rees, focus on your duties, or there won't be any to return to." I left humiliated, laptop clutched like a lifeline. 2 weeks later, past 10 p.m., a share drive link blinked onto my screen. Someone had forgotten to revoke my executive access. Inside a folder labeled Innovation Pipeline, I found my proposal, Alex Monroe's name on it. They had stolen it but didn't understand it. What they deployed was a ticking time bomb. I could have gone to HR, filed a complaint, but I did something better. I left Halverson Dynamics the next morning. For 3 years, I perfected my platform. Investors laughed, until they didn't. Novacor Labs was born. Today, we license that same software back to the industry, including Halverson. Every keystroke they make flows through my system. My resignation letter was polite, citing personal reasons. They never asked what I'd patented, never guessed that the junior engineer they dismissed had secured intellectual property under her own name. The first 6 months were brutal, a tiny studio off Pike Street, instant noodles, 18-hour coding days. But NeuronX evolved fast, from a workflow optimizer into an intelligent enterprise system, a digital nervous system for corporations. Then came the pitch that changed everything. At a private showcase, I met Sarah Zong, a venture capitalist known for spotting breakthroughs early. She didn't skim my demo, she dove in. "Walk me through the neural interface again," she said. "How does it integrate with legacy platforms in real time?" We spoke for hours. Architecture, scaling, deployment. When we wrapped, she grinned. "Why hasn't anyone launched this before?" "They tried. Halverson Dynamics tried," I said. "And failed." She laughed. "That failed attempt tanked their R&D department, costing them millions. Do you realize how many companies want exactly what you built?"
I did.
I'd been counting on it. $5 million for 20% equity, she offered, and access to her tech network. A week later, Novacor Labs officially launched. Within months, Fortune 100 companies lined up. NeuronX worked flawlessly. I stayed out of the spotlight, using only my middle name and mother's maiden name publicly. As far as the world knew, NeuronX was Elizabeth Morgan's creation. Halverson never connected the dots. Their loss became my legacy. Then came the email. Subject: Request for consultation. Dear Miss Morgan, I represent Halverson Dynamics, a Fortune 500 company seeking to modernize our enterprise systems. We've followed Novacor Labs' success with great interest and would like to discuss potential collaboration opportunities. Calvin Halverson, CEO. I read it 3 times. They weren't reaching out, they were begging. Sarah spotted it first in our CRM. She called instantly. "Tell me you're going to meet with them," Sarah said, barely hiding her excitement. "Oh, I will," I replied, staring out at Halverson Tower from my penthouse office. "But not just yet." "You're ruthless," she laughed. "I adore it." I let them stew for 2 weeks. Halverson stock dropped another 12%. Analysts whispered about executive shakeups. Calvin gave vague interviews about strategic transitions. Delicious. Finally, I sent a short, polite note agreeing to a meeting on my terms. They would come to me. The morning of the meeting, I hit the gym in my building, burning off anticipation. 3 years ago, I had stood in Calvin Halverson's office, dismissed as naive. Today, he was coming to me. "Miss Morgan, Mr. Halverson and his team have arrived." My assistant's voice broke through my thoughts. I slipped into a navy designer suit, more expensive than my entire annual salary at Halverson, and walked calmly to the glass conference room. "Let the games begin." He entered first, still tall, impeccably dressed, still exuding that aura of executive infallibility. But now, I saw cracks in his confidence. "Miss Morgan," he said, extending his hand. "Thank you for making time." Behind him, Alex Monroe and two other familiar faces trailed silently. Not a flinch. Not a recognition. Funny what 3 years, a new name, and undeniable success can do. "Please," I said, gesturing to the long table. I took my time settling at the head. "Let them wait. Let them wonder." "Let's be direct," Halverson said, folding his hands. "We need your help. Halverson Dynamics is looking to modernize our enterprise systems. Neuron X's track record speaks for itself." I raised an eyebrow. "Does it? Tell me, Mr. Halverson, what exactly do you know about our system?" He launched into a memorized monologue, buzzwords flying. Machine learning, real-time optimization, behavioral data loops. Terms he clearly didn't understand. Alex nodded along obediently. "Impressive research," I said lightly. "But you haven't mentioned your last attempt at transformation." The room froze. Calvin's jaw tightened. "That was an unfortunate misstep. We received bad guidance," he said smoothly. Alex suddenly found his tablet fascinating. I swiped mine. "You mean the rollout 2 years ago? The one that hemorrhaged $30 million and imploded within a month?" Alex looked up. "How did you—" "Enough," Calvin snapped. "We've learned. That's why we're here. We want the best, and Neuron X is the best." I walked toward the window, the skyline sprawling below. The Halverson building loomed in the distance, a relic of outdated power. "Tell me," I said without turning, "what happened to the developer who originally created that platform? The one whose work you tried to claim as your own?" Silence. "I don't know what you're referring to," Calvin replied, but the edge in his voice betrayed him. I turned, locking eyes with him. "No, let me refresh your memory. You, developer female, propose a self-learning system you dismissed as naive. You remember now." Alex's face drained of color. Calvin narrowed his eyes. "How do you?" I smiled and returned to my seat, tapping a button on my desk. The wall screen lit up. My original Neuron X proposal filled the display. Diagrams, code. My name at the top, Kendra Reyes. "Hello again, Mr. Halverson. Remember me? The worthless junior developer." Chaos. Alex dropped his tablet. Calvin stood abruptly, face red with disbelief. "This is impossible," he sputtered. "No, Calvin. This is justice," I said calmly. You can't be Elizabeth Morgan," he stammered. "I am," I replied. "But you knew me as Kendra Reyes, the developer whose ideas you stole. The one you told to stick to her job and stop pretending to be an entrepreneur." "We'll sue," he snapped, though his trembling voice betrayed him. "That platform was developed while you worked for us." I leaned back. "Exactly. And now, every keystroke you make flows through me." "No," I said, cutting him off. "Neuron X was patented before I ever stepped into that meeting with you. You can check the filings." I leaned forward, a faint smile on my lips. "Oh, wait, you can't. Your systems are still too outdated to access archives that far back." I stood, smoothing my skirt. "But that's not why you're here, is it? You need Neuronix. Your competitors have it. Your clients are leaving. And every day you delay, your market share bleeds out." "Name your price," he muttered through clenched teeth. "Price?" I laughed quietly. "Mr. Halverson, I think you misunderstand. I'm not selling to you. I'm buying you." I slid a folder across the table. Nova Core Labs was launching a hostile takeover of Halverson Dynamics. We already had the support of 42% of shareholders. With their stock drop, the rest would fall into place this quarter. Calvin's hands trembled as he scanned the documents. This is revenge. No, I said coolly. This is business. Your company is undervalued, has infrastructure, a recognizable name. With the right technology, it could thrive again. That's what we do, acquire and rebuild. He clung to hope. The board will never approve this. They already did. I pressed a button. Board votes, signatures, pass motions. He was the last to know. Alex Monroe sank into his chair. What happens to us? Depends, I said, sitting back. Novor keeps valuable employees. But we start with a performance review, especially on how senior staff treat junior innovators. Calvin looked crushed. You can't do this. I already did, I said. Security will escort you out. HR will be in touch. Oh, and Calvin, I smiled faintly. Your office has a lovely view. I think I'll keep it. After they left, my phone buzzed. Sarah's voice, breathless with excitement. How did it feel? Better than I imagined, I said, watching through floor-to-ceiling windows as Calvin Halvorsen and his team were escorted out. How's the stock responding? Up 12%, she said. Wall Street loves the idea of NovaCore modernizing Halvorsen Dynamics. I smiled. Schedule the press conference for tomorrow morning. It's time for Elizabeth Morgan to step into the light. The next day, I stood behind the podium with the Seattle skyline behind me, announcing Novor's acquisition. I wore the same navy blazer from that humiliating meeting 3 years earlier. No one else would notice, but I did. Reporters asked about my background, why I'd stayed anonymous. I gave rehearsed answers. Focus on product. Let results speak. They didn't need to hear about sleepless nights, ramen dinners, or the times I almost gave up after being told I wasn't enough. Success speaks louder anyway. Within a month, Halvorsen Dynamics was fully integrated into Novor. Many employees thrived. Some stayed quietly. Alex Monroe now manages internal audits, competent but uninspired. Calvin Halvorsen retired early. His corner office became my secondary workspace, symbolic, not functional. A quiet reminder that no idea is worthless in the right hands. Sometimes, during quiet nights, I open my old pitch deck. Lines of code. Original diagrams. They remind me, success isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving myself right. The Halvorsen building still stands, but now it bears the NovaCore Labs logo. Thousands log in each morning, running operations through a platform designed by a woman they once overlooked. In the pocket of my old blazer, I keep a folded note, my resignation letter from 3 years ago. On the back, written in shaky handwriting, remember this moment. It wasn't the end. It was the beginning. If you've stayed with me through this story, thank you, not just for listening, but for seeing me. I used to believe silence was survival, that playing small earned a seat at someone else's table. But you can't grow where they bury your light. They called me naive, arrogant, unqualified. But every late night, every failure, every dismissal forged the version of me who would sit at the head of that table and own it. If you've been underestimated, I want to hear from you. Tell me the time they said you weren't enough and what you did next. Or what you will do next. This isn't just my story. It's yours too. Standing in that quiet place between doubt and breakthrough? Here's my advice. Don't wait for permission. Build. Learn. File the patent. Launch the idea. Back yourself when no one else will. You're not too young, too late, too soft, too much. You're right on time. Support stories like mine. Share this with someone who needs that push to trust their potential. Let them know they're not alone. If you're wondering whether your work is worth it, whether your idea matters, whether your moment will come, remember this. I didn't see me coming either, but I showed up anyway.